Spiritual tension, spiritual stressing, then spiritual tension, spiritual stretching. Now I had my I did my class for my embroidery machine, my training yesterday. And since I had the embroidery machine, there's been an issue where the wire, the thread wasn't cutting. It's supposed to cut every time it go to a new color, every time it go to a new jump to a new spot. It's supposed to automatically cut the thread. And I wasn't supposed to be operating the machine until I got the training, or you might void the warranty. So I couldn't tell them, hey, I couldn't really ask for help on the situation. So I would just sit up there manually cutting the thread. Once it stopped, I would cut the thread manually and try to get my hand out the way real quick. So when I had the training, you know what I'm saying? See that right there? Pass that around. That's the strings so they made us do that little simple, and that's the strings that were hanging off after you cut it. So I asked the technician. I'm asking the technician what's causing that, and he said the bobbin doesn't have the correct tension on it. And so with the cords not being tight enough, when it goes to cut it, it's limp, so it don't cut it. It just kind of just pulls it in. You know what I'm saying? And that was kind of gave me the spirit. Also, that shirt there, the threads on it are loose. So after maybe some washing, it may look decent enough to do something with now, but after some washing, those threads are moving around. It ain't supposed to be like that. And so that kind of sparked me, you know what I'm saying, gave me a little revelation about the class. Having spiritual tension and making sure that we sometimes the Most High stretching us to a point that he can deal with us, or give us a greater capacity of the Holy Spirit, or give us greater purpose or greater blessing, whatever the case may be, or getting us ready for a rebirth. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a stretching. There has to be some tension. Tension. Who gonna read from me?
I'll read it.
Tension. The state of being stretched tight. Mental or emotional strain. Apply a force to something which tends to stretch it. Alright, an example of that parachute keeps the cable under tension as it drops. And we're gonna see about cords being tightened for the tabernacle. Cords being tightened, even in this instance with the parachute, you know what I'm saying, once that cord loose, then you know what I'm saying, the parachute not gonna operate properly. But the aerodynamics that goes and that's involved, the law that's involved in that, keeps those cables tightened. Let's start with a prayer of transparency in Psalms chapter 139. Verse 23.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 139 and verse 23.
Okay.
Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts.
It says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. This is what the psalmist is actually praying, that the Most High search his heart, that he may know his thoughts, and be tried that he may throw his thoughts. Keep going.
And see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting.
And lead me in the way everlasting. And so that's even at a point, that psalmist got to be at the point where he feels, or she feels, or he feels that that they are doing everything they're supposed to be doing for them to even get searched. Because you're not going to ask to be searched by the Most High, knowing that you in sin, knowing that you have these certain iniquities that you're dealing with. Giving birth requires stretching. Giving birth requires stretching. Let's look at Isaiah 33:20. Giving birth requires one to be stretched.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and verse 20. Look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Solemnities? Yeah. Look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Thine eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet habitation, a tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof shall ever be removed, neither shall any of the cords thereof be broken.
It says, and neither shall any of the what?
The cords thereof be broken.
And neither any of the cords shall be broken. A tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof shall ever be removed, neither shall any of the cords thereof be broken. Neither of the cords will be broken during this tabernacle, and that solemnities is solemn feast. Now I told y'all that story. One of my first tabernacles. You know, it was the first when that hurricane came through, and my pegs came up, and the tent kind of caved in. So I had to sit up there the whole night, standing up, holding the tent, and not sleep, trying to keep the tent. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep from dying. I don't know what was happening out there, but it was a bad storm came in, and it pulled those tents up. And once they pulled the tents up, the cords didn't have the tension, and of course the tabernacle fell in. Let's look at Isaiah 54 and verse 1. So Israel will not have those cords where they will fall in upon her. And I had to get back out there and eventually, nail them back down. 54 and verse 1.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 54 and verse 1. Sing, O barren, thou that didst not bear, break forth into singing and cry aloud. Thou that didst not travail with child, for more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, saith the Lord. Enlarge the place of thy tent, and let them stretch forth the curtains of thine habitations. Spare not, lengthen thy cords, and strengthen thy stakes.
Lengthen thy cords and strengthen thy stakes. You know what I'm saying? And the tighter those cords are, the stronger those that tabernacle can hold to hold against certain winds and certain, certain trials, certain tribulations, certain situations. So you want to have your cords actually tightened. Let's look at Psalms 42. Isaiah 42 and verse 1. So you had that tabernacle built up where it can withstand the wiles of the adversary. Psalms 42 and verse 1.
Chapter 42
I don't know why I keep
1.
saying Psalms.
Behold my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom mine soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth.
He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. A bruised reed shall he not break, and a smoking flax. A flax is like a little stem. It may be smoking, maybe about to go out, but it's not gonna completely go out. Bruised reed, it may be broken a little bit, but it ain't gonna, like you may, if you have them popsicle sticks and you break them, but they ain't all the way broke. You know what I'm saying? You can try to put them back together a little bit, hold them, finish off what you got to do. This is what it's talking about God's servant, you know what I'm saying, who the Mashiach. And so we have to be like that bruised reed. Sometimes we'll be like that bruised reed or that smoking flax, where we may, you know what I'm saying, we may get to a point where that oil is lost a little bit and we smoking, or the weed may be broken a little bit, but it ain't completely broke. You know what I'm saying? That flax ain't completely burnt out. Let's look at how do pearls grow. In Matthew 13 and 45.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 13 and verse 45. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it.
He went and sold everything that he had and bought it. This is what the kingdom of heaven is like. It's like a pearl. How does pearls get made? You don't know?
You don't make the clams have like indigestion or something like that.
It's in the clam. The sand kind of filters in, and somehow it irritates. It's a lot of irritation going on within that clam. Whether it's that sand or little rocks going in there to end up forming that pearl. You know what I'm saying? So it's formed just like diamonds. Diamonds form under certain pressure. Clams, it may not be pressure, but it's certain irritations, certain afflictions that clam going through that forms that pearl. And a pearl don't have to be you just polish that and go. You gotta brush it off, you know what I'm saying? You just wipe it down a little bit and go. And so the kingdom of heaven is like that. So you may go through certain things to produce that pearl. Simon was done. Let's look at Luke chapter 5. And this just goes into also getting to that breaking point. You get into a breaking point where you may be like, you know what, I'm finished. I ain't finna do it no more. And you can't do that. You gotta be like that popsicle stick. Put it back down, tape it up, and keep going. Luke chapter 5. I ain't even there.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 5 and verse 1. And it came to pass that as people pressed upon him to hear the word of God, he stood by the lake of Gennesaret, and saw two ships standing by the lake. But the fishermen were gone out of them, and were washing their nets. And he entered into one of the ships, which was Simon's, and prayed him that he would thrust out a little from the land. And he sat down and taught the people out of the ship. Now when he had left speaking, he said unto Simon, Launch out into the deep, and let down your nets for a draught. And Simon answering said unto him, Master, we have toiled all the night, and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net.
Now you gotta see Peter like, you know what I'm saying, hey, we've been doing it all night, but if you asking me to do it, I gonna do it. I don't want to do it, but see, Peter, I don't want it. I'm done. We done fishing for the day, man. I'm not finna try to go out here because we done. We done toured it out. But if you ask me, I'll go ahead and throw it out there. Go ahead.
And when they had this done, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net brake. And they beckoned unto their partners, which were in the other ship, that they should come and help them. And they came and filled both the ships, so that they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knee, at Hamashiach's knees, saying, Depart from me, for I am sinful man, O Lord. For he was astonished, and all that were with him, at the draught of the fishes, which they had taken.
Now, why did Peter go to and kneel before the Hamashiach and say, man, I'm a sinful man?
Because he didn't have faith.
He doubted.
Yeah.
He doubted. And that's what we do when we give up at that breaking point. When we get to that point where we feel like, I ain't finna do it, like I'm just toiling for nothing. I'm just doing these classes for nothing. Ain't nobody, man. I'm putting YouTube videos up for nothing. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? You don't know where that, you know what I'm saying, when that next spot. So you got to continue on and continue enduring. And this is because I done got a little slack on the videos because it wasn't giving me fruit like I wanted. You know what I'm saying? But I had to check myself on that. You know what I'm saying? To do more. So I got the little camera set up now. But it's just part of the stretching. You know what I'm saying? You can't give up. So Peter recognized that he did have that doubt, and he asked for forgiveness. Keep going.
And so was also James and John, the sons of Zebedee, which were partners with Simon. And Hamashiach said unto Simon, Fear not, from henceforth thou shalt catch men.
It says, fear not, from henceforth thou shalt catch man. So at that point, he was stretched into a rebirth. You know what I'm saying? He was at a breaking point of, I'm not finna do no fish. I'm not doubting into being, you know what I'm saying, a fisher of men now. Keep going.
And when they had brought their ships to land, they forsook all and followed him.
They forsook all and followed him. And that's another point. Just like the kingdom of heaven is like that goodly pearl. And once a merchant finds it, he leaves all. He sells all to buy that godly pearl. He became a fisher of men and forsook all to follow the Hamashiach. That ye may have peace. Let's look at John chapter 16 and verse 33.
This is the book of John, chapter 16 and verse 33. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer.
So like you start at verse 32.
32. Behold, the hour cometh, yea, is now come, that ye shall be scattered, every man to his own, and shall leave me alone. And yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation.
In the world there's going to be tribulation. Come on.
But be of good cheer. I have overcome the world.
And I have overcome the world. Understand that I'm with you. I have overcome the world. I'm here to give you that peace. Isaiah 26 and 3. Isaiah 26 and verse 3. And that's what the adversary wants. So in the kingdom of heaven is righteousness, joy, and peace. And the adversary wants that peace. Wants you stressed out, wants you worrying about those things in the world and not focused. And that's what that stretching to do. That stretching to have you worried about, you know what I'm saying, you being stretched, you know what I'm saying, past capacity. Like everything has a meter. What's it called? The PSI of a pipe? Like what's that? Pressure per square inch or something?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before the pipe busts. You know what I'm saying? And so in order to increase that PSI, it has to be strengthened. It has to be hardened. And that hardening, that strengthening, it deals with, you know what I'm saying, you going through certain things. You going through certain tribulations spiritually. You going through certain things. For your faith to be hardened, for your faith to be increased, you have to be brought through certain things. I heard a pastor say, what he say, everybody want a miracle, but don't nobody wants the situation that requires one. Right? Everybody want the breakthrough, but they don't want the situation, or they don't want the adversity that requires a breakthrough. Everybody wants the testimony, but not the affliction. Isaiah 26:3.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 26 and verse 3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee.
He said, I'll keep them in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Come on.
Because he trusteth in thee.
Because he trusteth in thee. You know what I'm saying? That's where your mind's going to be. Where your trust is, that's where your mind's going to be. That's where you're going to be leaning to. Let's look at 1 Thessalonians 3 and 4. And when you're not trusting in him, you worried because you trusted in the world. First Thess 3 and verse 4.
It's the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 3 and verse 4. For verily, when we were with you, we told you before that we should suffer tribulation.
You see, I told y'all before. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna suffer tribulation. And just like Yahushua in that John 16:33, he says, I've spoken unto you these things that you may have peace. I'm telling you that you're gonna go through certain tribulations. You're gonna go through certain things so you can have peace when you and you can be built up to have a peace when you're going through those certain tribulations. Keep going.
Even as it came to pass, and ye know. For this cause, when I could no longer forbear, I sent to know your faith, lest by some means the temper have tempted you.
All right. And so Paul couldn't hold out any longer. He needed to know what was going on to see if they had actually, you know what I'm saying, fallen or had been tempted by the tempter. Keep going.
And our labor be in vain. But now when Timotheus came from you unto us and brought us good tidings of your faith and charity, and that ye have good remembrance of us always, desiring greatly to see us, as we also to see you. And
we're going to see later in the class that faith and charity is vital also. That faith and charity is vital also. Let's look at 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 12. But Paul did warn you that you will suffer tribulations. Second Timothy 3 and 12.
This is the book of 2 Timothy, chapters 3 and verse 12. Yea, and all that will live godly in Hamashiach Yahushua shall suffer persecution.
All those that live godly in the Messiah will suffer persecution. You will suffer persecution. All right, increase of strength, Isaiah 40 and verse 28.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapters 40 and verse 28. Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard? That the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. He giveth power to the faint.
He giveth power to the faint. Come on.
And to them that have no might, increaseth strength.
And he gives those that have no more might, he increases their strength. Come on.
Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall.
But what?
But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength.
They're going to renew their strength, meaning you going to lose your strength waiting. Meaning your strength going to have to be renewed going through certain trials and through tribulations. Your strength going to have to be renewed. Anytime you about to do work, anytime you about to work out, you're supposed to do what first?
Stretch.
You're supposed to stretch first. You're supposed to stretch first. And then sometimes we skip the stretching, pull some, you know what I'm saying? Because we didn't give those ligaments the proper, training, so they can deal with the heavy weight or deal with the strenuous exercise that you put on them. So you can't skip The stretching. You can't skip the process. Keep going.
They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint.
And they shall walk and not faint in that glorious time. Let's look at Colossians chapter 1 and verse 9. Maybe I'm gonna do some little light stretching. You go in there, pull your shoulder. Now you can't touch the weights.
This is the book of Colossians, chapters 1 and verse 9. For this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that ye might walk worthy of the Lord, unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God.
Keep going.
Strengthened with all might according to his glorious power.
And strengthened with all might according to his power. Come on.
Unto all patience and long suffering with joyfulness.
And with all patience and long suffering with joyfulness also. Taking those things, taking those trials, those tribulations, those afflictions with joyfulness, understanding that those things are going to strengthen you. We faint not. It's kind of going into the same thing that Isaiah 42. 2 Corinthians 4 and verse 16.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapters 4 and verse 16. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day.
All right, though the outward man may be perishing, that inward man is being renewed.
Keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory.
And see, that light affliction, those light afflictions that we going through, can't compare with the glory that'll be received when you get into the kingdom. Especially if it built you up. There's certain things that I know I went through that built me up to get to a certain place spiritually. You know what I'm saying? So therefore it was necessary. And I have an appreciation almost now for affliction. Like I kind of, even on that trip, I kind of understood. I got to a point where I understood that I was being stretched. You know what I'm saying? That I was being stretched, and that I was gonna have to. We was gonna get there. Of course, we gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? Most High got us covered, but I was at a breaking point. You at a breaking point where you don't want to let me stop. So we went to the rest stop to stop. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't.
How was your affliction?
And so, you know what I'm saying, we had to get, but I learned something. You know what I'm saying? You learn something, you get built up from things like that, man. And it kind of renewed me a little bit. Getting back, still ain't really caught up on my sleep, but it still kind of renewed me and refreshed me spiritually, where I feel I've been slacking in a couple spots. I can do more. Where we was at? 18.
While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. And
we got to understand that we're working for the unseen. We're working towards the unseen. We're working towards the eternal, not the temporal things of this world. 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 8.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapters 1 and verse 8. For we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of a measure.
We were pressed out of a measure. Come on.
Above strength, insomuch that we despaired even of life.
They wanted to die. They didn't care about living. Paul was at a point of being in tribulation so bad that, and I don't want you ignorant of this fact. I don't want you ignorant of this fact that I was troubled to a point where we despaired even life. And so you can imagine them talking amongst each other, man. We just might as well just, we get the chance. You take me out, and then so-and-so gonna take you out. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
But we had the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves.
That we shouldn't even trust ourselves. Come on.
But in God, which raiseth the dead.
But in God, which will raise the dead. Come on. Which will quicken with the spirit.
Who delivered us from so great a death, and doeth deliver, in whom we trust that he will yet deliver us.
And we trust that he will deliver us, man. And so they had to lean on that. But it came to a breaking point where he was like, you know what I'm saying? We might just need to take ourselves out, man. This may be too much. Let's look at 1 Peter 5:10.
This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5 and verse 10. But the God of all grace, who hath called us unto his eternal glory by Hamashiach Yahushua, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you.
And settle you, and strengthen you, and establish you. Right? After you had suffered a while, those cords will be tightened. Those cords will be tightened on that tabernacle, where those same little, little tribulation that you used to go through, it won't even bother you anymore. And it ain't that you may be around people and it may seem like, oh man, don't nothing go wrong with that brother, or don't never go wrong with that sister. They ain't never going through that. It ain't that. It's that they done been through so much. They course already been strengthened. Where those same things that you got you going crazy, they done been through that. They done did that 10, 20 years. They ain't even, that don't phase them. That don't rub them like that no more. And they done defeated it. You know what I'm saying? They done defeated it where they done adjusted their life where them same tribulations, those same problems aren't still an issue. You know what I'm saying? All right, according to his ability. Because sometimes you can get stretched out, and then when you go back, it leave marks. You know what I'm saying, with the stretch marks. And you can have those marks spiritually also, if you end up being a reprobate and have to constantly go through the same thing over and over again. You may lose that elasticity in your spirit, and then you can't bounce back, and then somebody just out there, and the Most High just leaving you to, to your lust. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 14.
This is the book of Matthew, chapters 25 and verse 14. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability,
according to his capacity.
And straightway took his journey.
And so somebody gonna get 5, somebody gonna get 2, somebody gonna get 1, according to what they able to handle. You know what I'm saying? According to their ability to handle these certain responsibilities. Keep going.
Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents.
It says he that had 5 talents, he traded doubled up, came back with 5 more. Come on.
And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2.
Come on.
But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things, even thou in the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and put then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance.
It said, those that shall have, those that shall be given, and he shall, for everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. Come on.
But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
And a lot of times what that unprofitable servant did was let worry make him stagnant. You know what I'm saying? The worries of this world, the consequences of what would happen if he does mess up. And sometimes we do that in faith. We don't want to, you know what I'm saying, do those thus says the Lord. We don't want to be in the scriptures. We don't want to be around people in the scriptures unless our life is a certain way, or unless, you know what I'm saying, we you know what I'm saying, we done cleared, you know what I'm saying, certain tribulations, or our finances in a certain way. That'll be the only time we'll really want to be around you know what I'm saying, people in the walk, or just, you know what I'm saying, spiritually deal with the book and actually, you know what I'm saying, pick the book up and read. But we can't be that unprofitable servant. We seen that the ones that had the 5 and had the 2, they had the capacity. It was and this was given according to his ability, according to his capacity. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes certain things you aren't given certain things. Sometimes, you know, just like, you know, brothers, well, why the school ain't built? It may not have the capacity. You know what I'm saying? I had to check myself. I may not have the capacity for 20, 30 people. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and or I don't have the staff, or you know what I'm saying? But either way it go, you gotta have the capacity for, and whatever he gives you, you know what I'm saying? Whatever he gives you, you work with what he gives you. You don't be fearful and say, well, okay, well, it's only 1 talent. Let me just bury it and then, you know what I'm saying, I ain't gonna do nothing with it because I'm too worried about losing that 1 talent. Isaiah 41 verse 10. And it ain't for you to judge. You know what I'm saying? Your capacity.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 41 and verse 10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee, yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness.
And I will uphold thee. So be not afraid. Be not afraid. Be not dismayed. Understand that the Most High will strengthen us. And through that strengthening process, you're going to go through certain things. Alright? But did you die? But did you die? 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 7. Almost. 4 and 7.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 7. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed.
We troubled on every side, but not distressed, but not crushed. Come on.
We are perplexed, but not in despair.
We perplexed, but not in despair. Come on.
Persecuted, but not forsaken.
Persecuted, but not forsaken.
Cast down, but not destroyed.
Cast down, but we have not been completely destroyed. Come on.
Always bearing about in the body the dying of Hamashiach Yahushua, that the life also of the Messiah might be made manifest in our body.
And that life may be made manifest in our body. Concentrating on that death and resurrection of our Messiah, that it may quicken us in our body. Alright, let's look at Psalm 71 and verse 20. And just like that flax that may got to the point of burning and it's just smoke, it didn't burn out. You know what I'm saying? Just like that that broken reed, it might have been cracked a little bit, but it wasn't completely broken. And we may have swerved off the road a little bit, but we did. But we made it back. We made it back, man. We didn't cause no accidents or didn't completely swerve off the road. We might have hit them little lights a little bit, but wasn't nobody in that little Psalm 71 verse 20.
Chapter 71 and verse 20. Thou which hast showed me great and sore troubles shall quicken me again, and shall bring me up again from the depths of the earth.
He says, thou who hast showed me great and sore troubles shall quicken me again, shall bring me up again from the depths of this earth, man. So those who showing me those troubles, we know that's the Most High brings. So you know what I'm saying? He killeth, he make alive, he control of all things. Thou who which have showed us great and sore troubles shall quicken us. So we seen Peter fishing initially when Yahushua pulled up and grabbed the first batch of disciples. And we see another reaccount of the Hamashiach returning. And seeing once he left, you know, Peter and them went back to what they knew. And that was fishing. And we see the Hamashiach again meeting them in pretty much the same reaccount of what happened the first time.
It's the book of John, chapters 21 and verse 3. Simon Peter saith unto them, I go a-fishing.
He said, I go a-fishing, man. Come on.
They say unto him, we also go with thee. They went forth and entered into a ship immediately, and that night they caught nothing. But when the morning was now come, Jesus stood, Hamashiach stood on the shore, but the disciples knew not that it was the Hamashiach. Then Hamashiach said unto them, children, have ye any meat?
Have y'all caught anything? Come on.
They answered him, no. And he said unto them, cast the net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find. they cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of fishes. Therefore that disciple whom Hamashiach loved said unto Peter, It is the Lord. Now when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he girt his fisher's coat unto him, for he was naked, and did cast himself into the sea. And the other disciples came in a little ship, for they were not far from land, but as it were 200 cubits, dragging the net with fishes. As soon as they were come to land, they saw a fire of coals there, and fish laid thereon, and bread. Hamashiach said unto them, Bring of the fish which ye have now caught. Simon Peter went up and drew the net to land full of great fishes, 153. And for all there were so many, yet was not the net broken.
Yet was not the net broken, but it was filled to a point where, and initially, I think in another maybe in Luke give a kind of a different account, but they was washing their nets, and it's another account that say they was mending their nets, and that mending happens when they've been fishing for so long, and then you know what I'm saying, the fish may bite through, or because it's so many fish, the net ends up tearing, you know what I'm saying. But now on the return, you see that, you know what I'm saying, they have a multitude of fish that they can't bring in, and that the net doesn't tear, because now this net has this capacity to take in this great blessing. And we ourselves can be seen as those spiritual nets, you know what I'm saying, that can take up a great blessing when we enter into that kingdom, you know what I'm saying, if we don't tear, if we don't, you know what I'm saying, and we actually stretch. But you'll tear if you skip the stretching process, you know what I'm saying, just like you may tear a ligament if you skip the stretching, you know what I'm saying. So the stretching is beneficial. Birthing pains. Let's look at Matthew 24. They got a few more slides. Maybe one or two. Matthew 24.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 4. And Hamashiach Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass.
All these things must come to pass. Come on.
But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows.
All these are the beginning of sorrows. Odin is the Greek for that, sorrows. G5604. Other translations, you'll see it in there as birthing pains. This is the beginning of birthing pains. That word for sorrow there is the pain of childbirth, travail pain, birth pains, intolerable anguish in reference to dire calamities proceed to advent of the Messiah. Alright, and so there's going to be birthing pains, there's going to be a stretching. And that is just the beginning. The nation rising against nation, kingdom against kingdom, famine, earthquakes, pestilences, etc. Home stretch. Baseball home stretch is what? Ninth inning. Last plate. Home plate. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. This may be the last slide. 1 Thess chapter 5. and 1. We're going to read verses 1 through 9.
This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapters 5 and verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
You know this already. Come on.
For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child.
And this is your precept. As travail like a woman with child. Come on.
And they shall not escape.
And they shall not escape. Come on.
But
just like the woman, it is, you know, she got the trimester. I know women take the picture of the first trimester, second trimester, you know what I'm saying, showing the stretching. You know what I'm saying, showing the stretching. But also the contractions, they get, you know what I'm saying, stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger to the point where then they like, hey, you know what I'm saying, baby gotta come. And that's gonna be those end times. You know what I'm saying, like a woman with child. And they shall not escape. Keep going.
But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep, as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation.
All right, put on the breastplate of faith, love, helmet of salvation, being children of light, that day will not catch us. Keep going.
For God hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Hamashiach Yahushua.
And we got to understand that also. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we going through, we got to understand that the Most High has not appointed us to wrath, but to eternal salvation. Keep going.
Who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him.
All right, whether we wake or sleep. All right, whether we dead or alive, we will end up being resurrected with him. Come on.
Wherefore, comfort yourselves together, and edify one another, even as also ye do.
All right, and just as you do, comfort each other, edify each other. All right, when we going through these certain tribulations. So your brother probably done went through the same thing already. Probably tell you that it ain't the end of the world. You will get through it. You will make it. It will pass. Let's look at Matthew chapter 10, verse 22.
This is the book of Matthew, chapters 10 and verse 22. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved.
He that endureth to the end shall be saved. Home stretch. Look at Matthew 24 and 12.
This is the book of Matthew, chapters 24 and verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
And he that endures to the end, the same shall be saved. But there's going to be many that's going to wax cold. There's going to be many that will wax cold. James, and that flax went out. It ain't even smoking no more. James 1 and 12.
This is the book of James, chapters 1 and verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that loved him.
All right, so when he's tried, he's endured that temptation, he's tried, he will receive that promise. He will receive that crown of life. Let's look at 1 Corinthians 13:4. I think it's the last precept. 1 Corinthians 13.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapters 13, verse 4. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not.
Charity suffereth long, is kind, it envieth not. Come on.
Charity vaunteth not itself.
Alright, love vaunteth not itself up. It don't puff itself up.
Is not puffed up. Doeth not behave itself unseemly. Seeketh not her own. Is not easily provoked. Thinketh no evil. Rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth.
But rejoiceth in truth. Come on.
Beareth all things.
Love beareth all things.
Believeth all things. Hopeth all things. Endureth all things.
And it endures all things. Alright, and that's why charity, that's why love is important. It suffereth long, it is kind, it envieth not, it's not puffed up, it doesn't behave unseemly, it thinks no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but it beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, and endureth all things. With that, anybody had anything else they wanted to add, or anything else they wanted to speak on?
Just that last passage sounded like Proverbs chapter 8.
With wisdom?
Yeah.
We're just using it as a female, or?
Yeah.
Alright. But yeah, with that we're gonna say shalom, y'all.